Let me know when y'all are ready.
How does a bastard, orphan, son of a whore and a
No, absolutely not.
My name is Alexander Hamilton.
I swear,
My name is Alexander Hamilton.
sweet baby Jesus, if you don't stop, I am going to lose it.
Can you tell we are really into Hamilton, me and Sarah and Boydston?
He's quickly becoming my least favorite founding father.
No patience for our rapping.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Tipsy Ghosts. We are your mildly tipsy hosts this time, Sarah, and Lindsey.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
We're improving the mild situation. We're working on it. It's a little tough.
Well, it's also a weeknight that we're recording this, so some of us have jobs and to be responsible in the mornings.
Yeah, but in our line of work, weeknights and weekends all run together.
They do. That's true.
Really matter.
This is really like my Friday.
I don't work until the evening, so I can drink whenever.
She's like, don't judge me for my drinking habits.
Tomorrow is my first day back to work in 2 weeks.
You guys,
how do you feel? Are you excited?
I miss you so much. I'm so ready for you to come back.
Oh, thank you. That's so sweet.
You're loved and missed.
I love being loved.
You are. I look around sometimes. I'm like, who's ready to go to the cafeteria with me? Oh, Boydston's not here. I miss you for lots of other reasons. It's just when I feel your presence, your lack of your presence, the strongest is when I'm hungry. Or when I have to sit next to other people who aren't you.
There we go.
I already have trouble claiming that seat. Before I took 2 weeks off, and now nobody's going to let me sit there.
I have an assigned computer at the at work, and it says that it's like for me, and people still try to sit in it. And so last night somebody was sitting there, and I booted them off. So I'm kicking you off the computer. And she was like, "What?" And I said, "I'm sorry. Is your name on this computer? Because mine is, and it is." And so she sat next to me, which is technically yours, which I put a sign on it that says Boydston.
Mm-hmm.
But someone keeps taking the name off of it. And so now random people just sit next to me, and Boydston and I do not like that. It's
time to rename it. I mean,
it is.
You gotta relabel.
I'll relabel it on Monday night, because that's my first night back with you.
Perfect.
You've been gone, so nobody's been there really to stand up for you.
Put it in my, semi-monthly educational announcements.
Don't forget, the seat is mine. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Please do not try to sit next to Lindsey. That is my seat.
It's my seat. Don't take it.
It's true.
So I'm glad you're back to work. How are you feeling?
I am feeling a lot better than I was. Getting your tonsils out as an adult is no joke. Whenever people tell you that you're going to be in a lot of pain, and you think, yeah, I mean, probably, but, like, I've got a high pain tolerance. You don't.
Oh, no. I remember you saying the week before, I have a high pain tolerance. I think I'm going to be okay. Oh,
gosh. Yeah. I mean, I think I would be fine if I could have eaten, but I was hangry and in pain.
Oh, sure.
I did fine for the first 3 days. I was like, well, where's the pain? Like, I mean, I feel maybe just like I have a moderate to kind of bad case of strep, but, nothing I can't handle.
Right.
And then I woke up on day 4 and I didn't get out of bed for probably 22 hours. And then I just stayed in bed for 3 days.
Aww.
And then I got out of bed finally and I took a shower and it's been up from there.
So really the middle part was the worst.
Yeah.
That was the low point.
My biggest concern was that I was going to bleed out of my face, and I didn't.
Thank God.
So I'm good. I'm good.
I'm a little disappointed that, I don't get to find out what you left me in your will, but...
Well, now it's a secret.
Just mildly disappointed.
Your microphone and headphones.
Her last night, she was like, "Bye, everybody, if I don't die." And I was like, "You're not going to die, you're fine." And she's like, "Lindsey, I left you something in my will." And I don't know what it was.
The $15 we've earned from the podcast.
It's $15.03.
Yes.
Oh, that's a big goal. We've
Split it amongst yourselves.
Oh, whatever.
Go buy yourself some Mexican food.
Mhm.
Like some tacos.
Yeah, like dollar tacos from Taco Bell.
You can split a margarita and
Right.
one order of queso.
Worth it.
Perfect.
Oh, for me to die?
Just kidding.
It's terrible.
I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm glad that you're alive and that you did not hemorrhage.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad I didn't have to find out what you left me in the will, which doesn't sound like it was anything. But I'm just glad you're alive.
I don't think she left me anything.
I wouldn't have
high
high hopes. I told another girl at work that she could have my Post-it notes if I died.
Oh.
So.
Is that what we're setting our aims on?
Yeah.
Our goals?
I'm trying to think. I'm going to need all this Jayhawk stuff in here.
Oh, no, I don't need that.
Mike does absolutely not want it, so you'd have to fight my mom for it.
Okay.
She's currently in lockdown, so you could beat her to it.
I'm looking around the room trying to decide what I want. Can
You
I
want
have your liquor cabinet?
Oh.
Now that you would have to fight Mike for.
Okay.
I also want these creepy pictures on the wall.
Ooh, I want the because I'm
They're not
essential
creepy.
I love
cup
them. Yeah, there's bones and brains.
and skeletons.
Mhm.
Yeah, I do want those. Okay? Just so it's clear.
Done. If I would have died 2 weeks ago, you could have them.
Could I have had your because I'm essential wine glass?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's all I see right now that I want because it's all Chiefs and Royals and KU stuff, which is not my jam.
As you wear a Chiefs shirt.
That's because I like Kansas City and we won the Super Bowl, so it's my one piece of Kansas City.
Those are 2 championship. There's like all championship
Okay,
stuff
I'll take
up
the
there.
championship stuff.
No, Mike wants it.
Dang it! Don't offer
You're
me
not a
stuff if you're
hardcore
not
enough
willing to
fan.
give it. If you're not willing to give it to me, don't offer it to me.
You don't deserve it.
I'm looking at your books, but none of them are interesting me right now. I don't want Grey's Anatomy or how the body works.
Those are vintage nursing books.
I believe you.
I don't want them either. Get rid of them.
There's a first aid book from the 40s,
Well,
That
I bet
sounds
first aid has changed since 1940.
Very
which is
helpful.
why it's interesting to look at.
That's true.
You still have my psychology book from like what, the 50s?
From the 50s, psychiatric nursing. I need to return that to you, yes.
Well, if I would have died 2 weeks ago, you could have had it.
forever.
There you go. That's what I left to you in my will.
Aww. Can I just pretend that you died and keep it forever?
No.
Can we talk, or if not, you let me know, but can we talk about, I'm not going to say where we went, but about our last location that we were at and how we did a little
We kind of already
fashion
told
show?
them.
Oh yeah. That episode will be out before this.
Yeah,
Did
we
talk about
haven't.
the fashion show?
We have not.
Oh, gosh.
Wait for those pictures on Instagram.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that you sent them to one of my friends, even though I think I told you that.
So since you guys already know, since it came out on Tipsy Stories where we were airing, live podcasting from the McIntyre Villa.
Don't we always live podcast?
Oh, good point. Yeah, you know what I meant.
I know what you mean, sorry.
Remote.
Remote. There you go.
Remote podcasting.
remote podcasting.
Okay, that's what I meant. We finally had the opportunity to do Lindsey's hair.
It was so bad.
As discussed on the Presidential Mutton Chops episode when we talked about dingleberries.
But I didn't know you were
With
going to
prom
do
hairstyle.
my makeup, too. So she did, like...
I'm pretty sure this was discussed.
You guys, I don't know if you knew this about me,
Well,
but
we can always edit it.
I'm a professional wannabe hair and makeup stylist.
From your
No.
alien picture that you did. She does do really good makeup.
Painting is different than
Yeah.
makeup. Painting I can pretend to do. Makeup I'm not that great at, especially on other people.
Without brushes.
Oh yeah, without brushes, but also, I mean, let's be honest, I was really not trying to do a great job.
No, and we were all very tipsy, and she did, like, blue teal eyeshadow on me.
I was going for a straight up, like, early 2000s, late 90s.
Don't forget the eggplant. There was eggplant in there too.
Eggplant
Oh,
and
yeah, the
red
glitter.
lipstick and glitter.
It was hot pink.
All so
lip gloss.
bad. The dingleberry curls were one thing, and then she just started slathering it on my face. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, we're doing a prom night.
I mean, that was what was in my mind the whole time.
Same.
So we got quite a few pictures of me posing and doing the prom pose, and
It was incredible.
it was so bad. And then
It
we
was
had
great.
a podcast, and then we kept ghost hunting and investigating during it. And we would be trying to talk to the ghosts, and Sarah would be like, I can't take you seriously right now. My hair and my makeup.
Those curls shrunk your hair up like 6 inches on each side. I think I did a bang up job.
It
Not
was
gonna
not
lie.
a good look for me, y'all. Let's just be glad that fashion sense went out a long time ago.
We did a few, oh man, what were those?
Glamour
shots. Thank you.
I was the photographer, and I gotta say, I did a great job.
She made me pose on the ground and was like on the ground with me, like.
I was laying on the ground while Lindsay was. You gotta get down there with your subject.
Yep, I snuggled up next to you. We posed a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty. It was pretty great. I thought we did a good job.
It was bad.
I'm just really glad we finally were able to get that done.
I looked at him the next morning sober, and I was like, I hate myself so much.
I discovered that
Boydston
everybody
said
looks
25.
a lot better whenever you turn the flash on.
Oh gosh.
Oh god.
After you've been sweating all night
Oh my gosh, I know. I looked
in a
so
non-air
nasty.
conditioned building.
It was like the hottest day of the summer. It was over. Heat index was 110.
Yes.
We were sweaty. I'm in like a tank top, but still. And so I'm like,
You are glistening.
I was
In the
glowing and not in a good way. My T-zone was like its own reflective surface. Why didn't you put some powder or foundation to...
That wasn't what they did in the prom.
That was the worst part. Can we filter those pictures?
No.
Oh gosh.
That's
We
my
had a little
masterpiece.
Extra
I
grease
can't
going in the
believe
hair
that you
from
said
the
that
sweat.
to people.
It was.
You said I could.
Not to everyone. I was also intoxicated, so take that with a grain of salt.
I
Doesn't
asked
matter.
permission first.
I don't know. I was not a part of that.
Did he say anything back to you?
No, has not.
He's probably like, I don't need to acknowledge this.
It's probably like, I don't really know. Oh, it wasn't me for once.
And I've
sorry.
talked to him since then, and he hasn't said a word about it.
He's like, if I don't say anything, she won't. We just never speak of it again.
Let's just never speak of this again. Next time I see him, I'm going to be like, can I see your phone? I just need to delete something from there.
Also, well, I looked at it the next day, and you had a little bit of cleavage as well.
Oh my
So-
gosh, what are you sending? Which picture did you send?
Is it the one where
The
she's on the
best
ground?
one. Yes.
Like,
With my chin.
I
I haven't even
hands
saved.
under her chin.
I saw you send all of them to me. I didn't save any of them to my phone.
Yeah, that was a treat.
Oh, I did.
We woke up the next morning with 25 pictures.
Oh my gosh,
From
I was like,
Boydston.
what happened last night? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I wasn't that tipsy. I remember.
Why? This is not a true friend. This is as bad as that picture you took of me when I was 4 White Claws deep.
Oh no, that is a classic. I still want to post that.
Gosh.
This one?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I still think we need to have a separate folder going of just.
It's called My Phone.
Oh my gosh, my face is so greasy and nasty, and this is all... Oh my gosh, look at the shine.
Let's see it. Show me.
She hasn't.
I hate you so much. There's just so much.
Did you show Evan?
No! I want my husband to think I'm beautiful. I don't want him to see me. He still thinks I'm pretty, okay?
You are beautiful.
Not in these pictures.
I tried my hardest, okay?
I think you're being very insulting.
I know.
The prom pose is my favorite.
I had my head cocked just right.
It looks great. So that happened, and now we never have to talk about Dingleberry Girls ever again.
That's where you're
Actually,
wrong.
I think it's now a tradition.
I think so too.
Next time, I'm going to make sure that I am not glistening like that.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny.
Okay, well, I am super excited to talk.
We're going to talk about a
tonight.
place that we went,
It's very near and dear to my heart.
because they have been
My heart
twice.
is well.
I have been multiple
Multiple
times.
times.
Multiple, yeah.
Right. By the time we went there, we've been several times since. By the time we went there, it was your second time, my first time.
Mhm.
Called
It was
Belvoir.
my
Third.
time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, I think since then we've been there multiple times, but
One of the
Proceed.
reasons it is dear to our hearts, it is a winery.
yes,
A haunted winery.
it is. And
What more can you ask for?
you can do
That's
tastings before
Right.
you do an investigation. It's a
They're
bonus.
encouraging us to be tipsy ghost hunters. It is right up our alley.
It
Mhm.
is, and I
We-
would say most people are tipsy when they do it.
May
Yes.
or may not have had a drink and then gone to get more drinks at the wine bar, and then gone to check in.
Mm-hmm. And we found out we all get a piece of equipment while we ghost hunt, and I get the EVP recorder. And we found out when I become tipsy or intoxicated, I become a little bit more hardcore. I got a little ballsy, and I got a little hardcore.
Very
and
hardcore.
Sarah, who has to sit here and listen to all of the EVP recordings to go through it.
They're just recordings.
Okay.
We have a recorder. We record things.
We're using it to record EVP, so it's an EVP recorder.
We hope to capture EVPs. Anyway,
when she's listening to all the recordings, she has to listen to me.
There we
using the recorder as a.
It's her personal vlog. It's what it is.
Vlog.
It's exactly what it is.
It totally is, and I'm just like, hey guys, so this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. This is what Sarah's doing right now.
Yeah. So what she's trying to say, we've learned our lesson.
She hates me so much.
Lindsey no longer gets to hold.
No, that's my tool.
The record. Oh.
You can hold the K2.
I'll be better. I should have
known whenever we went to Glore and you read every single sign in the museum.
You love me.
Into the recorder.
Maybe you're thinking we're on like Ghost Adventures or something.
I'm giving lots of context. I'm giving you lots of context, okay? Sorry, not sorry.
Thank you.
I mean, we could try switch it up, and I can hold it next time. But you never know with me. I'm a loose cannon.
You chat to people.
I am constantly.
A talker. You left us so many times to chat to people, and it worked out in our favor.
Okay,
and
yeah, I was going to say I don't want to hear it.
Afterwards, I thank you.
Thank you.
In the moment, I was like, "Please stop! You're embarrassing me, Mom."
Hey,
and I'm on the recorder going, "Sarah's not talking to us right now. She left us."
She did. But I'm very social, especially when I'm drinking. I can't help it. It worked out in our favor. I made us some friends.
You did.
You did.
So anyways, we went to Belvoir.
Belvoir. That's
what we even said it yet. We got off topic. Belvoir in Liberty, Missouri. And it is amazing because it's a winery.
What's it also known as?
Pop quiz.
It's also known as the Oddfellows Asylum.
Asylum, okay. I was going to say Oddfellows, but the way you were looking at me made me think that was wrong before I even said it.
It says right on the building.
It's just my face, I'm sorry.
So, it's called the Oddfellows Asylum because it was formerly the Oddfellows Home. And I get to do the history this time, guys, so...
Okay, let's hear it.
They're going to chime in because they probably know more about this place than I do. I don't know why I did
it many times, but...
I wanted to do the history so I could learn more about it, so chime in.
Okay.
All right, so the Missouri Oddfellows Complex, it was built in the 1900s. Currently, 3 buildings stand still. Not stand still. Stand.
Did they ever move?
To this day. And I'll go into like some of the buildings that were demolished. But right now, in 2020, you have the administration building, which is where you go to get some beverages.
Oh, yes. The main building.
The best building, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. The old folks building and the old hospital. There's also a cemetery and a bunker and all of those things. We'll kind of talk about that later. So the first structure used as the home was burned in an attempt to unthaw frozen pipes. So that was in February 1900. After this, the Grand Lodge of Missouri, we got an acronym, y'all.
Oh boy, here we go.
IOOF.
EOF.
EOF. Which is the Independent Old Fellows Home.
Yeah, it is.
Advertised for designs of the completely fireproof building to house offices, classrooms, dorms for the orphans, and rooms for the elderly. The EOF.
Oh yeah, EOF.
EOF.
IOF?
EOF or IOF? What are y'all thinking?
Don't matter.
IOF. IOF. Okay. IOF.
IOF.
So,
IOF is on fire.
Oh, Lord.
Ooh, good one, because I just talked about how the building burned down.
Oh!
You see what happened there.
So that's how the IOF came into play, because they were like, here's a fireproof building.
Naturally.
So IOF's roof is not on fire.
Okay. We nailed that.
We did. I'm glad you were listening.
I actually did nothing. I just laughed. You guys crushed it.
She made an unintentional pun. Woo. All right. So IOF is religious. Am I going to be able to say that acronym without you laughing? Okay.
I had a drink in my mouth.
It is a religious and political independent fraternal order founded in 1819. The chief purpose of the IUF is to give aid, assistance, and comfort to its members and their families. So it's a secret society. Oh.
Can I just tell you, I love a good secret society.
You were going to say that. I almost said, I know you love these.
Oh, which one am I thinking of?
Are you thinking of the Freemasons?
Yes, I am.
I know.
How did you read my mind?
Because that's like the most famous secret society there is.
Fraternal order or whatever they. I don't know. I watched a documentary on it the other day.
Ooh, we should cover that.
Here's my question, though. How do they have enough information to make a documentary on the Freemasons if it's supposed to be secret?
I don't know. They had a bunch of people on there who were interviewed and were very open about it.
It's kind of like how Anonymous and the Illuminati, I mean, like, lots of people know about them, even though they're secret. Put in quotations.
It's basically like an age-old fraternity.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch The Family on Netflix?
No.
I think I have. Is that a documentary?
I mean, should I?
Yeah, it's pretty family. It's pretty interesting. Goes all the way to the top
Let's watch that again.
Of what?
of the United States.
Oh.
It goes to the top. Just the top.
I am not throwing away my shot.
I'm gonna lose it. Going to lose it. I have so many pins in this room, I can stab you so many times.
I'll stop. When you said the...
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm done. I just
Secret Society. We're back.
I'm done for real. I think.
For now. I don't know. I think.
You know, the key is just not letting people know that it bothers you.
Right. She's just staring at us. Okay. I know you missed us. Okay.
Anyways, proceed.
Secret Society.
Freemasons.
It has its own systems of rights and passwords. The first lodge in Missouri was organized in 1835. The Oddfellows Home was established for the care and maintenance of members of the order who were unable to earn a livelihood by reasons of age or affliction, those who were indigent, and for the wives and orphans of members. In order to be admitted, members must have been in continuous good standing in their lodges for 5 years prior to their submission for acceptance into the IUF. Application was made through the members' lodge. The list of past members includes some of the early founding members of Missouri IUF, and as well as many leading citizens of small towns across Missouri. Doesn't name names because it's a secret.
Yeah, it is.
So in 1883, the first petition to establish a state Oddfellows Home was recorded at a session of the Grand Lodge, almost a great. In 1894, bids for sites were requested. 7 cities submitted their proposals, but Liberty was selected as the site of the home. The city of Liberty offered $17,000 as consideration, which nowadays seems like nothing, but back then I'm sure was a ton of money. And they offered free tuition to Liberty High School for the children who would be at the home, and they won. So the residents agreed. 1888, the city offered $30,000 in land and money for the Masonic Orphans Home, but failed there. But they got...
Masonic.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
But they got the Old Fellows Home. So that's how it came to be built in the 1900s.
Did you say Old Fellows Home?
Odd Fellows. I knew I was going to do that as I was writing these notes. I was like, I'm going to say old. Because it keeps talking about elderly, and it became a nursing home kind of place. I'm like, I'm going to say old. Don't say old.
Spoiler
Those
alert.
old fellows.
Sorry. Spoilers.
No,
So, 3 buildings. The administration building, the old folks home, and the hospital. So the school building was built in 1904. It was eventually torn down in the early 1950s to make...
Is that where the administration building was, or is it separate?
The school building was torn down in the 1950s.
Okay.
It doesn't stand anymore.
Oh, okay. I was trying to follow because you said 3 buildings. And
Yes,
you said school buildings, so
school building that's no longer there. There used to be 4.
It was torn down in the 1950s.
Got it.
This is 2020. Do you know what year it is?
We're skipping around here. I don't know. I'm trying to follow.
So they tore it down to make way for the newer hospital. So in the early years, children far outnumbered the adults. In 1912, there was 52 residents were adults and 111 were children. Most of these children were orphans.
That sounds like hell.
Yeah. From 1932 to 1933, so fast forward about 20 years, 236 adults lived there and 98 children, so it kind of flip-flopped there.
better. It's a lot of people out there.
And during that time, they were taking more like single mothers with kids, like people who had been widowed. So that's why they think it was like more kind of flip-flop, not as many orphans. The decline in numbers in the home that was redundant. The decline in numbers in the home declined. You can tell I was super tired.
So it declined.
So it declined. After social programs began in the 1930s for the elderly and the poor, that's kind of really when social welfare kind of took off. And there was local nursing homes. The elderly population started going to those because it was closer to their families. So numbers start declining in about 1930. By 1951, there was no longer any children in the home, and most of the applicants were just permanent hospital patients. So, the hospital. The hospital facilities were originally in the old folks building, but by 1910, it was obvious that they needed a separate hospital building, so they built that, and it was built in about 1923. And it was constructed on the northern end of the property that's now known as the Old Hospital. For a while, this was the only medical facility in Liberty, and it had its own laboratory. And then the nursing home was built in 1955 after that. The old school, it had excellent education, and they even provided college tuition at first, which signed me up there. By the early 1940s, attendance was declining so much because, you remember, 1950s, they had no more kids. So the school was discontinued, and classes moved back to the administration building. So that's why they demolished the old school building, and it no longer stands on the property. There's also a bunker that was used as a storage and farm area. And there's a cemetery kind of at the back part of the northern end of the property that contains about 600 people buried there.
I have a fun fact about the cemetery.
Ooh, tell me.
It was moved.
Oh.
So it's not in its original location. They moved it so that they could build like a little power building.
On the walkway up there?
On the walk, yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the bunker?
Mm-hmm. And so, who knows if they got all of the bodies?
Mm.
Oh.
We'll never know.
Dun, dun, dun.
So in 1955, when they built the nursing home, I don't think I mentioned this, but the Grand Lodge voted at that time to permit the admittance of paying non-members to the hospital. So up till then, you had to be a member to go to their hospital, which is like crazy to me. It's all violations.
My, how things have changed.
So also outside the cemetery gate, there is a memorial dedicated by the Liberty Iouf Lodge to honor members who were killed in World War II.
Cool.
People report hearing children giggling and running up and down the stairs. They hear children singing Ring Around the Rosie in the hallways. They hear voices, noises, doors opening and closing, knocking. Reports of shadow people in the hallway in the nursing home, the old fellow's home. They hear a piano playing on its own, which I don't remember seeing a piano there.
There's a piano.
In the,
It's kind of like on the entry into the old folks home.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's in the old folks home.
Okay. Also in the old folks home, there is a room. It's called the Mischievous Man's Room. And people report hearing a deep growl coming from there and also feeling like oppressive feelings, doom, dread, just feeling unsettled around that area. And the OR also in the hospital, the OR responds to German due to prisoners of war. And we're going to talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Lead us in. Where are we starting off?
Let's start in the...
You going to start in the main building?
Yeah, you know what? Let's start in the main building.
Yeah, where the wine is.
Where the lovely wine is. I get two and then double fist it until it's time to go.
But you can't take it with you to go ghost hunting. You have to drink it in there, which was a little bit of a bummer.
Because you can't take glass. There's already a lot of rubble. They're very old buildings.
Very.
And there's lots of rubble, and we don't want to add to it.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the main building where the wine is. The bar's sweet. The girl that works behind it, she's real nice and she's helpful.
She's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And you can stay overnight, right?
You can. It's an inn.
Right.
Yes.
It's a winery and inn.
So, but it also, the upstairs used to be the orphanage.
The upstairs was the orphanage.
Right.
And Sarah's favorite people, the Ghost Adventures crew, visited.
Yes. I do love that.
You want to tell us what their
Tell us about
findings
Zach.
were?
Well, I mean, they actually got some pretty good evidence there. It's before they redid everything to how it is in its current state. So now, like they mentioned, it's an inn and you can stay there.
It was back in the day. Nick was still there.
Oh, yeah. This has been a while.
It was
back
just
then.
the three of them.
Yeah. So it was pretty old and run down.
Yeah.
Up there.
Was this before he got glasses or after?
Wait, what? I feel like he's always had
I
them,
think
no?
he's always had
He
glasses.
didn't have them in the very beginning episodes.
Oh,
Maybe
no.
he tried to hide it.
Maybe they're blue blockers. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I like them.
Continue.
So they this is where they went upstairs and they put the bear out there, and they got some pretty good responses from the bear reacting to presence around. I think it's kind of like a K2.
Yeah, it
EMF.
responds to touch and
Is it touch?
energy, I
Yeah.
think.
But they also went into one of the rooms and they were digging into the walls. I'm pretty sure it was walls. Unless you watched it recently and you might know better than I do. Do you remember?
I thought it was like a floorboard, or they were on something. They were standing on the ceiling.
Yeah, like
ceiling
reaching behind or something.
Yeah.
Okay, they were reaching somewhere in this old room and were able to pull out old artifacts, like a letter and a picture.
Yeah, like
maybe?
schoolwork.
Yeah. It's kind of cool.
Mhm.
Oh, and then fun fact, my tattoo artist, his name's Trinity. Hey, Trinity, what's up? He told me on the day he gave me my tattoo that he has a trinket from the old orphanage from one of the walls there before they've redone it. So, kind of cool.
Very cool.
It's got a grand staircase.
Mhm.
I mean, as grand as,
It's pretty cool. The building
and
is.
you can see how the kids have worn down the edges from running up and down the stairs.
Yeah. Like they're bowed, kind of, on
yeah.
each side.
Which I think is just pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. That it's all like original stuff still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have it's a venue. You can do weddings, events, and so
It's very
the
popular.
second floor is a lot of event space.
Ballroom area.
Yeah, ballroom, a reception, banquet hall. I don't know.
Like 2 or 3.
I don't do events, so I don't know the terminology.
I think you're right.
But at some of the paranormal, some of the people from the paranormal group that goes there, they have reported that they've gotten some pretty good evidence at one point in time.
Right. I wouldn't mind checking it out. One time
Yeah, we
we're up
didn't
there.
go upstairs.
No,
That's where rooms are, and like she said, everything's kind of up there. It's more private stuff.
yeah, they don't really do
We don't do
investigations there
investigations
anymore.
up there.
Yeah.
So that's also where we kind of gathered in between.
Mm-hmm.
Because we split up into groups. There's a lot of people. So where did we go first?
Well, and also there was the skeletons there.
How did I
to
forget about
mention
this?
him.
I even put it in my notes and I forgot.
I
So
was waiting for you to say it. But
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I'll say it. The
All right, you
skeleton
say
was there.
There
Thanks,
is a
George.
real life skeleton.
Yes.
His name,
A real life skeleton. Yes.
a real,
He's not alive.
not
He's
alive,
but he's
but the
real life.
skeleton is real life,
Yes.
and his name is
George. Oh, y'all. It's just like George is everywhere and I love it so much.
But do you remember why they call him George?
Whenever any member of the Oddfellows died, the skeleton is named George.
Oh, okay. Sounds like he did that voluntarily, or so they
Well,
say.
yeah, he donated his skeleton to be used for rituals.
Mhm.
What kind of rituals?
Interesting.
We don't know.
Very interesting.
Bum, bum.
Well, George is on display in a big clear box for you to see in between.
It almost looks like a clear coffin. Like he's laying
Yeah.
down. It's
They have also some pretty cool other trinkets in there from.
how did
From
I not
back
get
in
a
the
picture
day.
of George? Why did
I
we
don't
mess
know.
that up?
We'll have to do it next time we're out there.
Yep, next time we're out there, guys, we'll upload a picture of me with George.
But I think that basically covers it. There is a room at the end of the hallway, across from where we all gather, that people have said to see a woman's spirit or a woman's ghost pass back and forth. But there's not really been a ton said on that.
Yeah.
Funny story, the first time when we went there, we looked up in the window and Boydston about crapped her pants because she saw a face in the window, but turns out it was a real person. We were like, what is this face?
What is it with you and your pants?
Oh, well, that was me being exaggerated.
Listen, don't drag me into this.
We all almost lost it because we saw a face, but it turns out it was a face of a real human being.
Oh, there was a person in the window.
In the upstairs window. Bummer.
Debunked.
Debunked.
You didn't even need me there to debunk it.
That was funny.
All
Okay.
right, let's start off with where we went first.
Well,
Let's go where we went second.
Oh, okay. Switching it up.
just
We're
do that
gonna
one all at the
go
end.
to the bunker.
Oh.
The bunker. So this is like kind of an underground. I mean, like I said, it's a storage facility. What they use to store.
Well, it's on the main level. It's just one big
Yeah.
open area.
Dark room.
Mhm.
It's on ground level.
Right.
Ground level. You know what I mean, though.
Underground, ground level.
You know what I mean.
I was trying to be gentle.
No, Boydston's never gentle with me.
Like it's on the main,
Not a gentle
ground
person. I'm
level.
sorry.
She's not a gentle person. She doesn't, think about my Hufflepuffness.
I tried.
So anyways, it's pitch black dark in there. This is where they report hearing people respond to Ring Around the Rosie. So we sang Ring Around the Rosie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's supposedly some children spirits that likes to come in there and hang out.
And they had like the grid lights. You guys might be able to explain that better than I can.
Mm-hmm.
What that is.
Yeah, there are several kid spirits that are known to be there and be pretty interactive, and even someone known as the headmaster, that if he's around, he or she is around, that the kids aren't as interactive. They don't want to act up in front of the headmaster. And the equipment commonly used down in the bunker are flashlights, the K2 or the EMF, and then one of our guides had a laser pointer which had a grid on it, so it was several green dots that made a grid pattern on the wall, and the idea behind that is that you can see any movement in the pattern. If there's a disturbance, then theoretically a spirit was moving.
I did hear a story on one of my times there.
Yeah.
From one of our guides that said that there's a documented death of a child who drowned in a pool or in a pond nearby, and his spirit is known to come there, and he'll respond by name. Of course, I can't remember it, but he'll come across on the Ovilus also. So that was kind of interesting. And then when I was there, he did come through and was talking on the Ovilus, and then was saying things about the headmaster and being oppressed and not being able to have fun or run around and being scared.
Several times people have brought like small balls to see if the kids will interact with that. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it personally, but sometimes people that have come back for a second or third time have said, yeah, I've seen this before. Sometimes the paranormal team that runs the investigations, they have said that they've seen it before them interact. Sarah, you had an experience there, possibly with the headmaster.
Yeah, I almost forgot actually. We kind of split off into these areas on our own. Mm-hmm. I went into a dark corner.
I was going to say, it's a small, like, one room. But
yeah, it's just a single room.
Right.
There's some framing off in the corner. But
we each found our own corners.
That's what I'm trying to say. I was not huddled around them. Anyways, there was definitely like a sulfur smell around me, and it was fairly noticeable. I even had the other person who was leading it come over and try to see if they could smell it also. But
and she didn't fart.
It was not a fart.
Because it lingered for a long time.
And like I said, I was by myself over there, so I don't know. I feel like I would know. But that's, I think, the first time that I've experienced like a true sulfuric scent there.
It's not, but I'll remind you later.
Oh, okay, can't wait.
Later on in this story.
Oh, also, last time I was there was a bat.
Oh, no.
So that was fun. I got to cower in the corner like a tiny child.
Like, get it out.
It's a small room anyway. Everybody's like, it's just a bat. Calm down. I'm like, listen, I'm not ready to be Batman here, okay?
Let me give you a little story about the rabies vaccine.
Exactly. I think I know too much. Like,
you seen? It's weight-based.
It's horrible.
So that's a lot of volume of liquid.
You Sarah, have a lot of volume.
Sarah, just telling you for the 10th time, it's weight-based, so
like I said,
you might want to lose a few lbs before you get bit by a bat.
She doesn't tiptoe around your feelings at all, y'all.
I didn't get bit. It just flew over my head, and I ducked down real quick. I couldn't even focus. No. I was so nervous, and everybody was like, you know what? It's just a bat. I'm like,
no, it's just a bat. Okay. You want to get bit by
give these injections. They hurt. Okay, anyways, I had to throw that out there.
I've had to give them. They hurt. How do you know?
I've seen them wince in pain, okay?
So around the same time that you said that you were smelling sulfur, you also said that your right arm was cold.
Okay, yes, I do remember that. But that was pretty much it, I think, over there.
Yeah, and so Lindsey and I were kind of off in there's this weird framed out area.
Yeah.
It wasn't walled, but it was framed. And Sarah went off on her own. Lindsay and I went off on our own. The group was over doing group things. And
weird, we weren't a part of the group.
I leaned against the wall and got stuff all over my butt and my back.
Yeah,
That's
well,
nice,
they
right?
said it's kids, and so they kind of like it whenever you sit on the ground and interact with them. And so Lindsay's like, oh, I volunteer. And she sat down and she's like, I regret this decision immediately.
It was like, I don't know what the right word.
It's like silt.
It's like silt. And it was
The hell
all
is
over my
silt?
jeans.
It's like wet, gritty.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, it was not comfortable. As soon as I sat down, I looked at Boydston and I said, I regret this. And I stood up and I'm like, ah!
Ew.
It was not a good choice.
You sat in mud.
I pretty much did.
Dirty.
So while Lindsay and I were off on our own, I also felt a little something on my arm. But in general, in the bunker, there were lots of flashlight activity.
Yeah.
Responsive to questions, responsive to even can you please turn that flashlight on? Can you please turn the flashlight off? I mean, it's just very responsive and
intelligent response.
Prompt in the responsiveness. And then also there were these lights that were flickering. I mean, maybe you can call them orbs. They weren't associated with the light source that I can remember. A couple of people just said, I keep seeing lights flickering, but it wasn't a flashlight. It wasn't the light grid. It wasn't anything like that.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything in particular besides singing Ring Around the Rosie?
I remember us singing Ring Around the Rosie all in a group. I remember the flashlights, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Did we go around and do the Circle of Trust where we all asked a question? Was that somewhere else?
Well, we might have done it like an EVP
We might
session,
have.
but it was
That's
a
a Circle
circle
of
of
Truth.
But I don't
Right.
remember. I don't remember too much other than I remember the sulfur smell
Yeah.
that you said you smelled, and I remember you mentioning that your arm got touched. But I didn't have anything other than sitting in silt mud.
I'll be honest, I think that the bunker is the place I get the least amount of evidence every time I'm there.
So it used to be until the last time that I went, and then it was just pretty doggone active.
Yeah, I've not experienced that yet, but maybe I was too freaked out about the bat this last time.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus on anything.
All right, where did we travel to next?
Next, we went to the old folks' home. Oh, and
Old folks' home.
the old folks' home is, as you can guess,
Where old people lived?
where the old people live, and I like to call them residents because
Oh, okay.
I am nice.
You are very nice.
Contrary to what Lindsay thinks, I'm a nice person.
I tried to keep that in, but I was just like, okay.
Right. She's nice to old people, okay?
She's nice to old
Old
people,
dead
not
people.
to me.
That's actually very accurate.
Even live people. She bought a book for her, or word search for her grandma today.
A
Oh, is that
large
what that
print
was?
word search,
Oh,
yes.
That's sweet of her.
hmm
That's so sweet.
Her 95th birthday's coming up.
Aww.
that.
Yeah.
That's really
great.
sweet.
I haven't seen her in 5 months. Thanks,
Yeah.
COVID.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Rona.
COVID.
Well, okay,
Okay,
so
old
we
folks.
traveled there.
Old folks, and then one of the residents in particular, Sarah is friends with. Her name is Dorothy.
That's a true story. Very first time I ever
She
went
made a
there.
friend.
Well, the first time I went there, I was pretty schnockered, not gonna lie, but I was like, there's somebody named Dorothy here. And as you guys both know, when I drink more, the more open I get
Very much so.
and talk about what I'm experiencing. Otherwise, I'll just hold it in and not say a word. But that time I was like, there's a Dorothy here. And then, I found out later in the investigation that one of our most active spirits' name is Dorothy. How about that? I mean,
How about that? It's like me and George.
yeah.
We
I
can
mean,
find you a
Dorothy's a
friend.
fairly common lady name.
It's very hard, let me tell you.
Like Delilah.
She doesn't like that.
I
That makes her
don't
uncomfortable.
like Delilah.
I guess I don't blame you. I mean, it's a little bit weird.
hmm
Intrusive.
Anyway, so Dorothy.
Dorothy's there. I think she's really the only one that we know by name there.
There's possibly
Was
a
it Harry?
Henry.
Henry.
hmm I think he might be the one who's like the grumpy old man.
In the mischievous.
In the mischievous man's
Uh-huh.
room.
So people report seeing shadow figures a lot at the end of one hallway.
Yep, up
Yes.
on the second floor.
And
Yes.
then that room, the mischievous man's room, is up on the second floor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they had us all stand in front of a room if we wanted to be touched. Like a room, I mean, the doorways are all open.
Right.
They don't want you to go in the rooms because
you'll fall through.
you'll fall through.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be touched, you stand against the wall in between the rooms.
Right.
All three of us stood in the rooms, like in the
Right.
hallway
Yeah.
to the doorway. I don't know why
Yeah.
I keep saying hallway. The doorway. I didn't experience anything.
Yeah.
What about you two?
I got a feeling in a corner by a room, and one of the guides was like, no, that place doesn't ever give anything. And then she came over and stood by me, and she was like, I don't like this area either. I couldn't pinpoint it. I wasn't next to the mischievous man's room. He's coming usually in 106, I think is where he is.
It ends in a 6. I don't know.
Okay, on the
I don't know what
corner.
it is, yeah.
On the corner, basically, is where. And that room was padded, and it used to be used for the people who were self-harming or harming others. I do know that.
Like a seclusion room.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then kind of back to what you said about the shadows in the end of the hallway. It said that you can see them going from room to room or kind of peeking out. And they're more responsive sometimes if you turn on music, like period music,
Mhm.
like Frank Sinatra.
Sinatra. Yeah.
Which just happens to be one of my favorite
Oh.
You're
singers.
such an old soul. I love it.
Thank you.
So you must love the old folks home, do you?
I do love the old folks home. So I've had some of my best experiences in the old folks home. I have seen the shadow people.
Yeah, I have too.
They lean out of the rooms.
I think the shadows are the most active. There,
Everybody
for sure.
said, I remember at one point that they saw someone lean
Yeah.
out, and I'm looking, it's pitch black dark, and I'm like, I feel like my eyes are playing tricks on me because you start to see stuff in the dark.
Or you start to see shadows.
I'm still not convinced. I think that's where your mind plays tricks on you.
Or
And then someone
that's where
says,
your boner kicks in.
and someone says, I saw a shadow, and then you're like, oh yeah, hey, me too, yeah,
Boner
yeah,
blocker.
yeah. I'm not convinced about the shadows. But that's
So
me.
I've seen it. I do think it does get more active whenever you play old time music. The flashlights are very active. They're very responsive in the old folks' home. I've been there once when the flashlights will turn on and the guide will turn music on. It just happened to be a Frank Sinatra song, and I appreciated that. And
And I appreciated it.
I have at least 9 witnesses. The flashlights went to the beat of the Frank Sinatra song. I shit you not. It
Ooh.
was the coolest thing I
is
have ever
really cool.
seen. So I really, really enjoyed that. You also experience cold spots, breezes, which I know, Lindsay, you felt that.
I did feel a breeze.
You hear knocking on the walls. One of the guides likes to do like a rhythmic knock, and then occasionally she'll get like
a response.
to the end, like the
Knocking.
end of the rhythmic
Is
knock.
this the room that, or I remember passing through, or were we passing through the old folks' home near the end, and we were going through the main hallway, and we heard a bang up above us? Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't recording at the time because it was at the very end when we were coming back from the hospital. Was that the old folks' home, or was that the hospital?
It was the old folks' home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when we were coming back at the very end of the night, we were just going back to the administrative building, and we passed through the old folks' home on the first level, and we all heard like a huge bang upstairs, and everybody thought it was me bumping into something. I don't know why I get blamed for
You're
everything.
very clumsy.
I am very clumsy, and I do bump into things a lot. But we were a single file line going, and we all heard the bang, and I think it was you or one of you
Probably.
was like, Lindsay, did you just bump into that? And I was like, no, it wasn't me. And then thankfully the person behind me was like, no, that was upstairs. I heard it too. And I was like, thank you. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
But there was nobody upstairs because it was the end of the night.
Right.
So we all heard that bang. We didn't catch it because, like I said, end of the night, I wasn't recording anymore. We were just heading back. So I do remember that part.
Yeah.
The old folks home would have been so cool to see in its heyday. And the last time I was there, one of the people who was in our group, she was telling me how her aunt lived there for many
wow.
years. So we were trying to, get in touch with her.
Mm-hmm.
Her spirit. The spirit's name was Ellen.
Mm-hmm.
She said it a couple times, so I'll always remember. Her name was Ellen. We weren't able to come in contact with her, but she did say Ellen was hard of hearing, so maybe she couldn't hear us in the afterlife either.
I'm sorry, that's funny. A ghost that's hard of hearing.
Ellen, put your hearing aids in.
Ellen, listen here,
Ellen had to use one of those, like, elephant horn licking things out of her ear.
Ellen, turn your hearing aid up, Ellen.
Oh, Ellen.
But one of the guides, or the investigators, he told a story to the group about how one of the most terrifying things happened to him in the old folks home. But it was on the first level in that main, you know, that staircase that you can't go up anymore because it's basically
falling down,
completely decrepit. Yes. Downstairs near that, in the main open area. He said he was leaning up against one of the poles in there, and he was kind of in what am I trying to say? Not interrogating. You know what I'm saying?
Investigating?
No. Like,
question? Like, is that what you're meaning?
Like show me what you mean. Show me
instigating.
Instigating, thank you. And saying, okay, well, if you're here, show me that you're here. Da, da, da.
So he was being a Lindsey.
He's being a Lindsey.
Y'all, Lindsey's only like that when she gets drunk. And I like to call it, like, I'm being like, if you guys watch BuzzFeed Unsolved, I'm being Shane. You are like, Shane. Come on, ghost, come on, do something. It's Lindsey.
Me, your boy.
It's Lindsey. Your boy, Shane.
So he said he was leaning up and kind of, and you know, saying things like, show me you're here. And they were these bags with all the equipment, and the bag lifted up off his bag, dropped, and then he heard a huge growl in his ear. So he did tell that story about that area. I have not had any negative things happen to me in the old folks home. Didn't
you, and I might be misremembering here, but when we were all standing in the doorways, and you mentioned that one of the investigators was standing next to you or whatever because you guys were getting that feeling.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys hear something like a laugh or something?
No. The investigator, while she was trying to like see what Sarah was feeling, she was touched. And so she's usually very calm, cool, and collected. Okay. I've been there when this investigator's been here several times, and she's never lost her cool. She screamed. And she, like, not really, you know, ran, but she, like, jumped away from that location.
Okay. Yeah. I remember something happened because I was standing in the doorway next to you.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, but that's in much better detail than I remember even. I just remember thinking...
I remember she got freaked out by something.
I don't like this. I'm feeling something negative around here.
Right.
And that's when she said, no, we really don't get much in this area. So she came and stood by me, and that's when that happened.
Did we get any evidence or anything like that in the old folks' home? I know I didn't get the bang recorded.
We have knocking.
No, that makes sense.
We have knocking. We have a knocking sound from the old folks' home. And, you know, I'll just put this little caveat in here now about our evidence. We didn't gather much on our recorder. There were constant side conversations happening.
It wasn't me. There was a big crowd of people. We were like 15 people.
Well, that's true. And people do talk constantly.
And it's usually in a whisper that they're talking. And so, you know, it's hard for me to differentiate. I don't want to. We take this podcast, you know, as goofy as we are, we take it seriously when it comes to evidence. And
most of the time. I try.
We do. The evidence that we present. We try to be serious.
I try to be serious.
Yeah.
When it comes to evidence, we try to be serious. We don't want to, I mean, we're out here looking for the real deal. And it's now my personal mission in life to make Lindsey believe in ghosts.
Oh my AKA gosh. Get a ghost boner.
I want her to get a ghost boner. And so we just didn't get we just didn't get good evidence with the recordings that we had here. Yeah. There's too much talking. Like we said, there's a lot of rubble. The buildings are pretty decrepit. Yeah. And so there's, you know, whenever people shuffle, it's very loud because of the debris. And so there's very little audio evidence that we have.
Right.
There is one thing which we'll get to later, but no, the only thing I have from the old folks' home is a knock.
Okay.
And then you guys' testimony. Where did testimony?
Testimony.
After the old folks' home, where did we go next?
The morgue.
I love morgues. I love morgues so much. Gosh, that sounds so weird.
I do too.
But I love them. Like, they're just, I mean, if you're going for the whole ghost hunting experience with the creepy vibes, the morgue is the creepiest you can get. This morgue was a little different because it had water that was dripping from the roof constantly. So you get lots of dripping noises.
Right. But it also was
Very wet.
not ever officially a morgue.
True.
Sometimes it had some dead bodies in it.
Right. But mostly it was used for potato storage.
Mostly it was used for potatoes.
It was.
But it was still a very creepy place.
But it was dry and cool, so they stored dead bodies there.
So we did the flashlight game down here a lot. And we kind of stood in a semicircle around
Semi.
the...
You said semi.
Semi.
around the...
What the hell was that?
It was me joining in your mocking laughter about my semi.
Okay.
We
She
stood...
doesn't like it anymore. Okay.
That's too damn
Anyways, the point I'm getting at is Boydston was on one end of the circle, and me and Sarah were on the other end. I don't know how we got separated,
bad. They
but we
abandoned me.
did. We got separated. And then I didn't want to cross over to her and walk in front of the flashlight when it was being responsive.
So you know what they did? They went off into
So mad.
a secret room. They went off into a room and just did ghost hunting on their own while I was in the semi by
You
myself.
should have come joined us.
You could have joined us.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Excuse me, I don't want to be in the semi anymore.
What happened was there was all these rooms kind of, are we underground or what is this?
Yes, this is
This is
like a
underground.
basement.
So I always get this and the bunker confused. So that's why there was water. It's damp. It's like mud. And so there's all these like sectioned out rooms that don't really have doors, but it looks like,
The
Kind
doors
of-
are like partially hanging
Yeah,
off. I mean,
it's very rundown.
definitely rundown down there.
And so I
Oh,
have the
hello.
recorder. Hi, Lucy.
Entrance.
I have the recorder. The flashlight's going off. I'm getting bored. And so Sarah is over by me and she's like, I don't like this room. I don't like this room. I'm getting bad vibes. I'm like, cool. I'm going to go off in this room by myself, away from the group with the recorder. And this is where my hardcore came out.
Oh, it was so sweet.
And poor Boydston had to sit here and listen to the recordings of me being like, come on, ghost. Come get me.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
Show us what you got.
It was so bad. This is probably where I was the most intoxicated, was in the morgue. And I was just really feeling it. And I got nothing on the recording.
Well, it's really hard to hear. I mean,
It's very hard to hear because of the water.
yeah, she mentioned how it's hard to hear anyways because of all the conversation, but then you add in the dripping water just constantly, so it's impossible, I think, to hear any EVP down there.
And they didn't like my antagonizing them. So kind of tell us about your feelings that you were getting and why I was going off in these rooms by myself.
That night, I had some kind of weird vibes down there, but really like nothing too exciting for me. But they do have some interesting rooms down there. There's one that's like a giant locker or closet with a bunch of cubbies in it that does have some old clothing still that's from the residents who have passed away that the family members just never came to pick up.
And like rundown bunk beds that are
Yes,
falling
that
off.
is so sad.
I know.
It's so sad.
It's
I know.
heartbreaking.
And then also I think kids have come through and just like messed it up, so the clothes are just all over the place, and who knows, I don't know, it's kind of sad, but they're there, so I'm sure that has some energy attached to it. And then yeah, there's these random bunk beds down there. Never really thought about that. What do you think those bunk beds were used for?
Why were they in the morgue? That's what I don't get.
I mean, it wasn't designed to be a morgue. They just used it as that. So, but
Do you think they put bodies on the bunk beds?
no, they said they put them in the potato storage area.
That's true.
And then there was like a kitchen area. So maybe like the people who worked there stayed down there? I don't know what those bunk beds were for.
So there's also a nurse's station over there.
Yeah. Oh, well, true. So maybe it was used as a patient area. But I've never heard them talk about it. Interesting. I don't know.
There's
It's a
like
very creepy
industrial laundry. I mean, there's a little bit of everything.
Weird. But in one of our previous times when we were standing in a circle and we were doing an EVP session, I did have an experience where I felt like I was kind of being bum rushed, if you will. Like somebody was rushing up behind me. Like
Bum rush?
Yes.
Like they're rushing your bum?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Behind her is her bum.
I think that's what the term is. They rushed up on my bum, okay?
Okay, continue.
I guess more specifically, it felt like kind of a rush of anxiety, like a wave of air from behind. And I think I mentioned that in the recording.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we were listening back, we were able to hear a name. I cannot remember the name. I thought it was William. Boydston thought she remembered it as Robert. I cannot remember, honestly. But it was a name on there. It's just been a while since I've heard it.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember my first time there was just lots of sulfur smell. And then that was the first time I was ever touched by a spirit. But generally we get lots of K2 activity or EMF detector activity. There's tons and tons of flashlight activity. And the last time I was there, I essentially had a full-on conversation. It's just very, very responsive with what I think was probably a kid.
Interesting you say that, because when I was there last too, it felt like it was only from like waist down that I was getting responses.
It's almost like, besides that sulfur smell, it's almost everything else that I've gotten has almost been playful in nature. I don't know. That's why I think it's kind of, it's childlike.
You guys had a really cool experience with your K2s, right? Like they were just going red.
It was going red, and it's like one to the other. It's like they were going back and forth, and like it was excited to make this one go red, and then go and make that one go red, and then go and turn on a flashlight, and go and make the K2, and then turn off the flashlight, and
which that's pretty hard to do. I mean, we can go hours with not getting any response on the EMF, and so for it to be pretty consistent like that, back and forth,
right,
is really cool.
Right. The guide said it was because I am the height of a child, so.
Can he make short jokes, but we can't?
It was a she, and yes, she can.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're not allowed to make short jokes, guys. Just FYI.
I don't ever make short jokes.
I don't either.
Some people are respectful about it.
Oh boy.
Anyways,
it came in your favor because the child liked you.
Yeah.
The kids like me.
The kids like you.
The kids and the old people.
Kids and old people. That's
and
usually
just
how it is.
Everybody
I
between.
like kid ghosts. I don't like children.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, so the morgue, it was creepy, but it was hard to capture any evidence because I think of the dripping and
yeah, just definitely an overall creepy area. Oh, I will say one more thing too. They do put up like motion detectors facing towards the stairway, and there's pretty good responses on that too. Although I will say I've been wondering how accurate that is with all the bats in there.
Oh, there's bats in the morgue too.
Oh, they're everywhere.
When you go up the stairs from the morgue, because when it's flooded, you can't go up the ramp. So when you go up the stairs, that's where I had the experience with a bat.
Yeah.
And luckily, the guy walking right in front of me was 6'6", and I said, "Thank you, sir. You saved me from this bat." I mean, bats would never get me, but they would get a 6'6" man. And he ducked and he halfway screamed.
I'm telling you, it's
Lindsey.
startling.
See, you said it yourself. I was clarifying.
I was
for
being
our
respectful
listeners.
to myself. You were not.
Respectful to myself. Okay, all I'm going to say is bats are scary AF when
Yes,
you're
they
already in a really creepy place.
God, can you imagine my weight-based rabies vaccine?
It can't be any different than mine. Let's be honest. So
Let's just stay away from the bats.
that's probably why I'm scared. I don't know, but it is startling to see them fly at your face when you're just trying to keep your composure. Anyways,
anything flying at my face would be startling.
Oh, okay. Morgue was cool.
Hard
Always
to get
has
evidence.
pretty good stuff with the flashlights, etc. And it's not always like dripping wet there. It just happened to be.
That's what she said.
So where did we go after the morgue?
We went to the hospital.
The hospital, which was our favorite part.
And truth be told, so the way it's set up, you go to four places, and then the fifth is a bonus. So really, we went to the hospital first and last.
But when we went to it first, it was still daylight, so I wasn't getting the creepy vibes.
Also, it was 8 billion degrees.
And it was so hot. Y'all, ghost hunting in the summer in Kansas and Missouri is not fun.
these old buildings with no AC.
It's hot.
Oh, wow.
Some people went to the cemetery. We decided not to because it was a long walk and it's outside, and I don't think any of us were interested in that.
The only cemetery I want to go to is Stoll. So
yeah, we wanted to go back to the hospital because we had been there first, and it was daylight. So we're like, let's go when it's dark out and see if we get anything. And I'm glad we did.
Right. So, but when we were there in the daytime, and I remember something happening during our first round in the hospital, but
we got the EVP.
Yeah, so we were all in a hallway where it was just like stagnant air. I mean, there was nothing moving. But, kind of back to what Boydston was saying about how people talked a lot. We did an EVP session, so everybody was really quiet during this one. And it's like extra quiet in that hospital. Because it's the farthest building away from everybody else. So there's nothing going on. Anyways, our investigator, he said something like, we call this building a hospital. What do you refer to it as? And in the EVP, you can hear a whisper say, a hospital. Which is pretty darn clear. So that was pretty cool. But the building itself, I think, is cool. Mostly because I think
we like hospitals.
Yeah, I like hospitals. I like creepy hospitals.
I like old, abandoned, haunted hospitals.
Same. So there's like patient rooms and nurses' stations and an old abandoned elevator that's just...
Oh, that looks like you could die if you fall through it. Yes.
Oh, it's awesome.
Love it.
Oh, now the real bedroom voices are coming out.
It's my role playing.
Come on, get it, do it.
It only comes out.
Show me that you're here. Talk to me. Come on.
Should I leave?
Lindsey's hardcore.
Lindsey and I are having a moment.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
No, I'm not yet. Okay.
We really like the elevators.
We just really like abandoned hospitals, okay?
They are
super
so
cool.
do
I, but
super cool.
We're just more expressive.
But we made our way down to the OR, the abandoned OR. I don't even know why I say abandoned, because everywhere's abandoned.
Everywhere's abandoned except the administrative building.
Yes. Okay. So it was used as an OR, and it's just basically an open room now with a bunch of crap all over the floor.
There's no more tables.
Right.
All the tile has been broken and a lot of it's in piles, places. Yeah. So the first time I went, which was the second time Sarah went,
Lindsey wasn't a part
the
of this
negative
yet.
time Lindsey went.
-1.
So we did a session.
Except for no. Yes. Okay.
Continue. Musical.
I'm leaving that in there because you sounded beautiful.
It's really on key that time. Not a deaf person singing.
Okay.
So we were having a session in the OR.
The first time you were there.
First time for me, second time for you, and -1 for Lindsey.
Can we stop bringing this up?
I just had to clarify which time.
Lindsey wasn't a part of our group yet.
And pre-podcast.
So we were trying to get the flashlight to turn on and it wasn't. And I guess someone had been there before and knew that some prisoners of war had once stayed in the hospital. And so they spoke German to try and get the flashlights to turn on. And they said, "Sprechen Sie Deutsch?" And the flashlight turned on. And so I used that little tidbit of information while we were in the OR this time.
Mm-hmm. And it was a small group, let's add that, because we chose to go here. This was our elective.
Mm-hmm.
So there's probably 6 of us?
It was 5, yeah.
5 of us. So there wasn't very many people, which was nice for recording. And we're all standing kind of around the room. Sarah's kind of got her back to the corner. And there's all these windows, but there's no glass anymore because it's all open. And I remember listening kind of while this is going on with the flashlight, and I could hear voices like out the window of people walking like to the cemetery and stuff, and it was very faint, very far away, and I was kind of just like listening to them, but also I was getting a major headache at this point. And so the flashlight starts responding while all of this is going on, while we're speaking German. I'm listening to the voices outside, and then we hear something.
Right. Yeah.
This was the greatest moment of my paranormal life so far.
Agreed.
I think Lindsey had a 2 5-second boner.
She did. You can hear it in the recording. She got a boner.
It was the hardest I've been.
I'll take it.
It lasted for a split second.
Mm-hmm.
But while this was happening, and you can hear in the recording, one of us is speaking. I forget who.
So it's one of the people that were with us, just one of the other guests. They were saying, so you really got it to turn on whenever you started speaking German.
Yes.
And then it's like between us, between talking, we get, are you ready for this? We got a disembodied voice.
Full on, heard it over my right shoulder. I responded, like, turned my head because I thought somebody was standing behind me. It was that real.
All 5 guests, plus the 2 investigators, every single person in the room heard that.
It was loud.
Yep.
Even Lindsey herself.
And I was standing next to Sarah. And you can hear in the recording again. I know we keep saying that. And we're going to play it for y'all. You can hear her say, what was that? And I turned to her and said, I heard that. Because up till now, every EVP we've played on the podcast for you guys, we don't hear it in real time.
That's right.
We hear nothing. It's
except for that growl.
Back.
Yeah.
Right. The growl we heard. But everything else, but even the growl was like...
And you thought it was my stomach. So.
Yes. And so even this, it was... First off, we were all female in there except for one investigator who was a male, and this is a very deep male voice.
But I should say he's at the opposite side of Sarah.
The room.
Right.
Yep.
He's across the room from Sarah.
And was not speaking at all.
Was not speaking. And it was literally like behind her shoulder in the corner, which is where I had been listening kind of halfway to the people outside.
Mm-hmm.
And their voices were distant and faint. You can't even hear them on the recording.
No, and I think by that time, too, it was like, so we had already been there for a while, but you could not hear them.
You don't
it was very
pass by
different.
the hospital. The hospital's at the very edge of the property. You can just hear voices in the distance.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and play this. Just know where the hospital is in relation to where other people are. It's probably... It is 2 buildings away.
Right.
So I will play the raw footage first. I'll play that 2 or 3 times. This worked last time. Speaking Sie Deutsch?
Sorry.
Your German is fluent.
Your German is on point.
You're not helping anything.
Sorry.
Okay. It's true that it did help last time. See?
Thank you. Can you turn the flashlight on, please?
It read your mind.
Were you in the war? If you were, can you turn the flashlight on? Nine? So just when you spoke about German stuff is one of the lights. That's the extent of my German.
What just whispered behind you?
I heard.
So just when you spoke about German stuff is one of the lights. That's the extent of my German.
What just whispered behind you?
I heard.
So just when you spoke about German stuff is one of the lights. That's the extent of my German.
What just whispered behind you?
I heard.
And then now I will play it enhanced. So enhanced just means that I isolate it, I take out some of the background noise, and I make it louder. That's all that means. So listen to it. Let us know what you think it says.
Because we think we know what it says, and the people who are with us think they know what it says because we all heard it in real time. But I don't want us to influence you guys at all.
So it's the extent of my German. So it's the extent of my German. So it's the extent of my German. So what do you think it said?
We all have different opinions.
Yeah, every single person that listens to it thinks it said something different.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that we all heard that with our ears, live, in person,
in the room,
not
right
through
by
the
me.
recording, not after the fact. It happened in the moment,
Not
and you
outside.
can hear us respond.
The coolest thing that's happened in our paranormal investigative history.
Right.
That has been, and I know we joked about that, about my semi,
It was a full-on ghost boner.
but that is the most convincing
Yeah.
thing I've heard. And like you said, it's because we heard it in real time. I was right next to her, and I had been listening to the voices outside, and it was not outside. It was in the room with us. It was right behind Sarah, like literally right over her shoulder.
Right. And yeah, let me just reiterate the fact that I responded. It didn't even scare me at first because I thought somebody was standing right next to me or right behind my shoulder. So I actually turned to see who was there.
Did you feel anything?
I didn't feel really anything. It literally was in my ear right here. So I thought somebody was standing behind me.
Yeah.
But nobody was there.
And it literally sounded like it came right from behind you.
That's right. Yeah. That coolest thing ever. I'm not sure that'll ever happen again, but it was really cool. We just happened to be at the right place at the right time. Can we say what we think we hear?
I don't want to influence them.
Well, they've probably listened to it by now, right? Because you put it in.
Okay.
So I think it says, I don't speak German.
Okay. What do you think?
I think it says, I don't know German.
And I think it says, I kind of know German.
So, let us know. What do you think? Either any of the ways you hear it, I'm pretty sure the word German is in there, clear as day.
Wait, I think I did hear no. I only know German, I think is what I thought it said. I'm remembering now. I only know German.
Okay. Well,
Definitely German. You can definitely hear
You
German.
can hear the word German in there. Or at least we're convinced that you can, so
yeah.
Tell us what you hear.
Which is when we were, and that's an intelligent response. We were all talking about German and how we're gonna
right?
speak German.
Absolutely.
So cool.
And then right after that, we left that room shortly after because I think we were all a little...
Well, that was the end of the night. That
That was the end of the night.
place. Yeah.
That was the last. And so that's when we were walking back through the old folks' home, and that's when we heard the thud, was right after that, from upstairs.
So, besides that really, really awesome experience in the OR, other things that you can experience are there's a distinct smell when you go into the hospital. In one of the corridors, you smell roses.
I've never smelled the rose. I've never stopped to smell the roses.
That was beautiful. That was very good.
So some people say that they smell roses. There is some flashlight activity, although I will say not as much as in the old folks home or the morgue.
Voices there than anything.
Yeah, definitely more voices. And then there is one hallway where there has been reports of shadow figures down the hallways.
Is that upstairs or a different one?
The downstairs corridor,
Gotcha.
whenever you first walk in.
Gotcha.
Where the rose scent is, where the elevator is. You guys like that elevator?
I do like the elevator. I'm on the second floor with the nurse's station, and
you made fun of me.
there's another room there, and we've gotten things like rocks and things being thrown. Just kind of some negative feelings up there. And we kept getting the name Rachel over and over, so we're sure if Rachel is a patient or a nurse. Not really sure.
Not Monica or Phoebe?
Not Monica or Phoebe, just very specifically Rachel.
I'm trying to remember what else. If there's anything we've missed that we got.
I don't know. I just love it there.
By the end of the night, I had a massive headache because I'd been drinking nonstop wine and no water, and it was hot, and I was sweaty and walking, and I was just like... done. I think
You
by
were
the
done.
end of
You
the
were
night,
tapped out.
I was tapped out. It was late. I was tired. And after that voice, I was just like, I'm ready to go home.
Yeah, that was a good night.
It was a good night.
I enjoyed it. I could go there every weekend.
We do go often, and it's kind of like a dream come true. We love it.
Yeah. It is a very cool place. If you guys are ever in the Kansas City area, you need to go to Belvoir.
Yeah.
Drink some wine, go on some ghost hunting. It's so much fun.
So the paranormal group that helps out with Belvoir and the paranormal investigations is Paranormal Research Investigators, or PRI Kansas City. They are amazing. They're very nice. They're very competent. We love working with them. We love hanging out with them. We don't have enough nice things to say about them.
Honestly, they have been so fun and just great resources for us. So we totally look forward to hanging out with them in the future. And thanks for everything that you guys have done for us so far. So you can look them up on Instagram or Facebook. They are at PRI Kansas City on both.
Go say hi to them. Tell them we sent you. Tell them we say hi.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I think that was it for our ghost hunting adventure at Belvoir, guys. Like we said, we cannot recommend it enough. It's a great place.
Check it out.
Really cool area. Lots of cool history.
Oh, yeah. And if we didn't say it already, they do public events fairly often. So you can look them up on Belvoir.
Yes.
And sign up for their public events to go.
We love it so much. We go often enough that if you go, you probably will see us.
You might see us there.
And if you see us, please come say hi.
Yes. We'd love to say hi. So you guys can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Tipsy Ghost. That's all that we really have for this episode of our ghost hunting, but we'll be back next week with another episode. You can also send us your stories because we're going to do another tipsy story here pretty soon, and we'd love to hear about them.
Oh, yeah.
Send that to us at thetipsyghost@gmail.com. Boydston?
If you've enjoyed what you heard, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And that's all we got. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Bye.